If you get in focus, click the links to Odysee and chute, and let's get you in frame. So, I had to watch the first hour of Star Wars #9 in preparation for this video, and it wasn't very good. So, weird, smelly cat ladies are in charge of Star Wars. Feels like weird, smelly cat ladies are in charge of way too much pop culture these days, which is probably why it's not doing very well. First of all, F Star Wars. It's over, and it's not coming back. You can enjoy the original trilogy. Actually, if you want to see the original big screen releases, you can find those on chute. And some of the improvements Lucas made over the years, some of them make sense. The original trilogies are very good, but they're a little bit clunky. The original stuff was great. Rogue One was really good, and the books. I know there's a lot of books out there, but there's probably a dozen that are really good that you should read first. This is Mike Zero with the latest Star Wars content. And that's an interesting word that I'm going to get into later. The shift in the psychology of people from seeing event movies that made an impact versus content that you play in the background while you scroll through your phone. There's a huge impact. There's a huge shift in films over the past 5 years or less, and it's getting worse. Mike Zero, yeah, all he does is pull out his knee pads and goes to work on Star Wars. Try not to get it in my eyes this time. The latest Star Wars news. Who cares? It's going to be some globalist cancer. Breastless pox BLTs riding unicorns in space. It's a step up from gay cowboys eating pudding. How will this help us sell more Star Wars? Star Wars? F Star Wars. Disney doesn't give a darn about Star Wars. I'm pretty sure Disney just wants to bang children. If you're a fan of Disney today, then you probably are not to be trusted around small children or animals. Even Nick Cage is willing to talk about how toxic Disney is, and good for him for mentioning it. It might be too strong to say that Disney is in possible financial trouble, but I think the return on investment is going to be soft for a while. The next upcoming thing is the Boba Fett show, which actually should do pretty well because he was a cool character with huge name recognition. Though I wonder, as the franchise gets older, if you tell how many 20-year-olds know who Boba Fett was. I don't know. It has the potential to be a really big hit, but Disney will absolutely F it up. I mean, it won't look or feel like Star Wars. It'll feel like a diversity experiment to virtue signal to Twitter. Plus, they are always marketing with China in mind, so it's going to pander. It's not Star Wars if it feels like a Hollywood list of diversity boxes is being checked. It's going to suck. And to be fair, people have a lot of nostalgia for George Lucas, who was great. If he was holding on to it, it wouldn't be much different. He was already a pretty left-wing guy. The prequels were stupid because he put too much PC in it. It didn't feel like Star Wars, it felt like California, which isn't good because California is a filthy, violent, third world hellhole. Not even kidding, dude. Even in the small towns in California, it's getting a lot of enriched violence. But I think by the time Boba Fett comes out, the original fans of Star Wars are just going to wash their hands of the whole thing. 40 to 50-year-olds are less into newspeak propaganda, and I think they start to age out of movies in general. I don't know if I'm aging out or the movies are just getting so bad, or a little bit of both, which means that Star Wars is hoping that the kids are going to pick up the slack and pay to see these movies made predominantly for China and not just go surfing for them instead. I don't know if that's going to happen so much. First, because the shows are terrible, but also because there's a lot of distractions in the form of content, which is a great word for the soylent green that is modern entertainment. All these companies are just trying to grab your eyeballs away from free shows, video games, or music, but not comics. Comics are pretty much dead, except for Comicsgate. Over the next decade, Disney Plus is going to have a show every year. They're going to be very, very mediocre, but they're also going to have mediocre big screen releases with characters that won't offend China, if you know what I mean. China isn't shy about their preferences. They like their coffee with a lot of cream. The films are pretty much going to be god-awful, but they don't have to be good to be a success. All they have to do is get people to keep paying that Disney Plus monthly fee, So you're paying $80 a year for Disney Plus or $170 a year for, I think, Disney, Hulu, and sports. But look at the shows I'm getting. Yeah, you're getting a lot of milquetoast stuff that you'll play in the background while you check your phone and surf Twitter. I think the streaming business model is that they know that there are a dozen streaming competitors out there, and people say limit their total budget to $150 a year for that sector. So you got to make sure that your platform makes the cut and that they don't drop you when a new shiny object comes along. You can do this with the psychological trick of intermittent reward. It's the chicken experiment with the solving a puzzle to get feed, and the fear of missing out. Just flood the platform with so much stuff, as much crap as you can get. If one of the Star Wars shows hooks the user, then they'll keep paying the $80. So Disney should be in a good position. They bought an entire galaxy from Lucas. The possibilities are endless, but every show is going to be a Hollywood diversity checkbox. It won't feel like a galaxy far, far away. It'll feel like a Hollywood studio. I think the left-wing kids will be excited about it because they're insane. They love soy. I think they enjoy being humiliated. There's a thing about SJW cuck boys. That's actually a real thing. They really do seem to enjoy that, being degraded. Which is great if that's what you're into sexually, but not in entertainment. Entertainment's for the point of entertaining, not humiliating the audience. But are there enough soy boys to support Disney? Probably the streaming, but less so for the movies because the psychology is different. You have to physically get up and travel to the theater. You're less likely to do that for a film that even a soy boy suspects is mediocre. It's not even the cost, it's just that the effort to leave the couch has to be worth it. That's why the Disney trilogy dropped so hard. No repeat viewers, and even the woke kids didn't want to see the last one, I already forgot the name of it, which was shockingly stupid for a $300 million movie. But believe it or not, Rian Johnson is allegedly doing another trilogy in like 4 years. Sure, Disney. But I can't understand why you'd hire Abrams or Johnson for anything ever again. Star Wars 9's total cost was $317 million, and when you adjust the originals for inflation, they were still less than half the cost, probably because Disney Star Wars had so much CGI that you just couldn't do in the past. You had to use practical effects, which, go watch Return of the Jedi, the scene where they fly the Millennium Falcon into the, Lando's flying into the Death Star. That scene, and you saw how you can go on YouTube and watch how they filmed that. They had cameras on tracks, and it was very clever, and it looked fantastic because they were using a camera on a track to emulate the spaceship. It looked amazing. They had to like pick pieces of the model out of the way as they shot the frame, and then they had to time the film rate speed to the movement of the camera. It's a trip how they do all that. They go, okay, 24 frames a second. Let's do the math. The thing with China is that they seem to be a fan of action films with a lot of explosions, stunts, and CGIs because they're watching the translated version, so the nuance doesn't get conveyed in the language, so they want simpler stories. They like stuff like Transformers, Megan Fox's boobs bouncing across that scene. I clipped that video for like a screensaver. She's running across the desert, and her shirt is just not helping her. She just like amazing shot and explosions in the background. I like Transformers also because it knew it was stupid. They just jumped into this stupid and they accepted it totally. And the crappy thing about Disney Star Wars is the sets and costumes all look like Star Wars. It was just the writing that was so abysmal. And the weird dynamic they had between the sexes. They made the men act like little children. He also had two guys following Rey around like she was handing out free blowjobs. What is the motivation for being such little bitches? Then Poe meets his ex-girlfriend for some reason, just to let you know that Poe and Rey have no connection whatsoever, and Finn is being chased around by some ugly chick. Rey is in love with the bad guy, but she kills him by sucking the life out of him. None of that movie felt like it was written by an adult. It felt more like fan fiction. Anyway, so this chick wrote some stupid thing about Star Wars. Again, move on. Star Wars. They're never gonna they're never going to give you what you want, because it feels like Star Wars is owned by idiots. They say, how can a billion-dollar company, these people are being paid $40 million a year, how can they be idiots? It doesn't seem... Hey, companies go bankrupt all the freaking time. You got the best people, allegedly the best people with masters and from the best universities and PhDs and all this stuff, and it's like, yeah, they still went bankrupt. Why? Because they made a series of cascading mistakes and they didn't correct themselves. So all these people who are getting paid so much in golden parachutes, this and that, yeah, they still go bankrupt. Could that happen to Disney? Sure. If they keep this cascading failure up, yeah, anything's possible, because it's happened in the past. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, guys. I will see you all next episode.